in high definition. This is Central Coast News right now. This is breaking news.
We are following some breaking news out of the Santa Cruz area and some very serious reports coming in of 2 officers being shot this afternoon and possibly a 3rd suspect. All of this developing over the past 2 hours. A live news conference happening right now. Let's listen in.
As far as officers in the shooting itself,
there were 2 Santa Cruz police members struck by gunfire this afternoon.
What do you mean by members?
I can't confirm their rank or their identification at this point. I can't confirm whether it's an officer or a sergeant or a community service officer. Unknown.
How did this happen?
Details are still forthcoming. We don't have a whole lot of details on what happened or when. Like I said, this is still an ongoing investigation, and details are still being confirmed by us.
Can you talk about the 2 different scenes, though, and what's happening in each one?
I can't.
What about the suspect? Any descriptions?
We don't have any description on suspects. Everything right now, like I said, it's a fluid, active, ongoing crime scene.
Is there a gunman on the loose as being reported?
We're still working to confirm that. Sorry.
Santa Cruz County Supervisor there, Zach Friend, on scene, and here's a gentleman who once served as the Santa Cruz Police Department press information officer and just moving on to the Board of Supervisors this year. So no doubt these are officers, or I should say police members, that he is very familiar with, knowing them as co-workers. Here's what we just confirmed. No longer reports. We have confirmed now during that news conference that 2 Santa Cruz police members have been shot this afternoon. The location, this map showing you Water and Branciforte Street. There is a second location at Doyle Street. We have reporters there with Jasmine DeVille at the first location, and then the second location with Marissa Pendergrass. I want to go back to Marissa if we can, because that location is serving as one of the areas where there has been a little bit more activity in terms of guns drawn. Marissa, we've heard there's been a sniper on a roof, officers standing by ready to possibly act on a potential suspect. What are you seeing right now?
Just to be clear too, Mark, want to make sure to let you know and let people know that are listening and watching that we don't want to be too specific to jeopardize their investigation and their active scene here. I am at the Whole Foods parking lot in the Doyle Soquel block area, and the scene just got actually a whole lot more active. Guns are drawn. There's another SWAT truck that just pulled up. There are multiple officers with guns drawn directly toward a couple apartment buildings. It's a little hard to tell at this point what exactly what they're looking for, but there's a Santa Cruz police car down that alley that I am staring at. So.
And that, of course, is number 1. As we're taking a look here at aerial footage, you can see how widespread this crime scene is. We do not have control over this helicopter view, but you can get a sense of where they're focusing their efforts. You can see a police unit there alongside what appears to be an apartment complex. You see also what appears to be a CSI unit or SWAT team truck right there at the exit to that parking lot. All of this coming in live right now on Central Coast News. And as we confirmed moments ago, 2 Santa Cruz police members have been shot this afternoon, and that's as far as CHP will go. CHP serving as a liaison there with the information, telling us what they know at this moment. Jasmine DeVille is on scene this afternoon. Jazz, you were there at the news conference. Obviously, some sad news that we are getting into the newsroom. What else can you tell us?
It's going to be tough for these officers to do their job today because of the fact that you mentioned 2 officers were told shot. We are also told, and I want to clarify, Mark, Officer Jackson also saying a suspect is down. They are not sure if there are multiple suspects, but 3 people shot, 2 officers, 1 suspect. They will have this scene and this intersection, including those two schools, locked down and blocked off for an indefinite amount of time. They're not saying when neighbors, when family members, and even the kids will be allowed to come out until they are absolutely certain that this scene is secure. Moments ago, we saw those police helicopters overhead. I'm not seeing any right now, so I don't know what that means in regard to their investigation and to wrapping up the scene. But we know Project Rope was initiated. I saw several officers stationed at the on and off ramps as I was driving north on Highway 1. Again, 3 people shot tonight, and this is very, very hard news to hear. Coming out here and talking to community members, this is a bustling neighborhood. You have not only restaurants, but like I mentioned, those 2 schools, you have grocery stores here, and of course just a community filled with families, everyone coming home from work right now, trying to make their way up on Branciforte and Waters right here. So you can see the traffic backup as police try to get the traffic flowing again. All right, so many officers, very heavy police presence. Officer Jackson, we're told, will be holding another news conference shortly. We're going to try to bring that to you live, if not just the latest information that we get from that. We're told in about a half hour she's heading back to the scene to brief the media again. So, Mark, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Jasmine, live on scene there. Thanks for the update. No doubt this is a developing situation that will garner some national attention, given the recent officer-involved shootings across the state and right here in California. Here's what we know as it all began around 3:30 this afternoon. 2 officers confirmed have been shot with the Santa Cruz Police Department. We are following this online. Right now, we broadcast up and down the Central Coast. We're going to send our KCOI viewers to the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley. And we continue here on KION with this breaking news coverage. This is live aerial footage from the Santa Cruz area. As you can see, a densely populated region of Santa Cruz, as Jazz was just mentioning, as we continue with this coverage on air, online, and on social media. If you are just tuning in here at 5:30, I know for some viewers this may be a bit redundant, but I want to make sure that we keep the information out there to the public. Branciforte and Water Street is the location of this crime scene. We have confirmed 2 Santa Cruz police members were shot this afternoon. There is a second crime scene only 1 block away at Doyle Street, and that is the map you're looking at right now. You can only imagine the streets are closed. Those perimeters, they are being pushed back further, and there is a heavy response. And we are hearing from our reporter on scene at Doyle Street that guns have been drawn, SWAT team members are there, and so that leads us to believe that there may be a suspect in that location. I want to see if we can go back to Jasmine Veal, and she is there on scene in Santa Cruz near the first shooting location. Again, Jazz, CHP was the law enforcement jurisdiction to release the information on the confirmed shooting victims. No doubt not easy for them because they all work together often in Santa Cruz County. They have a good sense of using a jurisdictional assistance when things like this happen. So we have multiple agencies on scene. What else can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Again, we have the DA's office, we have FBI, we have Scotts Valley Police, we have Santa Cruz, we have the Sheriff's Office, a multi-agency response to here. You're looking at the intersection where they have it blocked off at Branciforte and Waters, and a lot of those SWAT team members pulling up still inside those armored vehicles. Again, clarifying, and this is just the information that we have right now, 2 police members, and they're stressing members because they have not given the rank of the 2 police members who were told have been shot. Also, we're told just in a news conference that wrapped up a few minutes ago that a suspect was shot, but they are not going to stop their efforts or stop their patrols until they're sure that the scene is secure and that there are not other suspects still out there. We have 2 schools in this vicinity, and I can't stress that enough for parents. No word on when those kids will be allowed out of the lockdown situation that is currently in place. You have Montessori. You also have the Monarch community. So Montessori and Monarch are those 2 schools. I was speaking to Midtown Montessori, and I was speaking to 2 parents earlier, AJ and another woman whose daughter, Jasmine, is currently being told to stay inside one of the homes she was visiting. So just many concerned parents, many concerned community members, and still confused about what is happening right now, because there are definitely more questions than answers, and we're told another news conference is going to get underway in the next half hour. So just as law enforcement are trying to get the facts, we're standing by trying to get the facts for you at home, because I know this is very troubling for a lot of people, especially to see something like this hit so close to home and have an officer involved. Mark.
All right, Jazz, thanks for the updates. Again, as we report this, we're posting a lot of it to our social media, also online to KIONrightnow.com. If you have to break away from the TV and move somewhere mobile, you can stay posted on the developing situation there. I want to stress that it's not only this location that Jazz was reporting from, but also really all throughout Santa Cruz County on Highway 1 as Project Rope has been enacted. Project Rope is a situation with multi-jurisdictions blocking off the exits to the highway, looking for a suspect. Again, what we know as far as suspect vehicle is a white-colored Honda. So you may see that, pass that on to loved ones as they are making their way on their commute on Highway 1. You may see some police activity. Our Brooke Holmquist has been covering this for the past 3 hours. She's in the content center right now, I'm being told, with new information. Brooke, what can you tell us this evening?
Mark, we're just hearing now that they're actually going to transport all those kids that have been on lockdown at those several different schools to a separate location, and that's where parents can pick their kids up. It's 701 Ocean Street. That's actually the courthouse and county building just down the street from where they are. So right now we want to let parents know, if you have a loved one there at that school that's on lockdown at one of the several schools in that building, they are going to be bused to the Ocean Street location. That's the county building and the courthouse at 701 Ocean Street, and that is where parents will be able to pick up their kids. So that's the information we have right now, Mark, and we'll keep you posted.
And Brooke, if you don't mind, a lot of viewers I know are just getting home from work here at 6 o'clock. And Project Rope, at last check, that was still in place. Is that correct, or has that changed?
It's still in place from what we're hearing, yes. And obviously, as you know, we've been reporting now that one of the suspects at least has, been involved in the shooting and is there possibly on scene still. But they are looking potentially for another suspect. So that Project Rope is still in place from what we're hearing.
If you can, lay out the location for us, because we've seen the map for Branciforte and Water Streets, but put that into perspective of the downtown area. Where is it in relation to the hub of the city?
Sure. Basically, it's right above downtown Santa Cruz, so downtown Pacific Avenue, the clock tower, the courthouse, the county building. As I was just saying, it's kind of right above that as you're heading kind of out of the downtown area, more towards Capitola, Live Oak, that area, Soquel, going away from the downtown, but just really right up the street from downtown.
All right, Brooke, thanks for the update. Again, reiterating CHP Officer Sarah Jackson saying she can't say if the shootings were fatal, but we do have confirmation from our Fox affiliate KTVU that the coroner has arrived on scene. I want to go to Ricardo Navarro. He's in the Interactive Center gathering information on social media, and the reason to use that, these are witnesses who are right there on scene, along with media right there on scene, and they're reporting what they're seeing this evening.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. I kind of want to point out this comment we got on our Facebook page from Adam Gomez asking why there is a CHP officer parked on every exit on southbound 1 coming from Santa Cruz. As we heard from Brooke saying that Project Ropes is still in place, obviously keeping them on every exit. So anyone planning on leaving soon or just coming home, that is the reason why CHP officers are parked there. Going back to these tweets, good news for parents who were hoping to get their kids. Somebody tweeting saw crying mothers and angry fathers wanting to pick up their kids. And again, as we just heard, there is a location at the city and county offices where parents can go and pick up their kids. Again, on Twitter, on Facebook, really getting the reactions, really getting the feel of what it's like, and a very active scene still there in downtown Santa Cruz. Mark, back to you.
All right, Ricardo, thanks for the update. And I'm getting word here from Brooke Holmquist here on my computer that there will be a live news conference coming up here in 10 minutes. And of course, we're going to bring that to you on Central Coast News. Going back to live video right now, Central Coast News is on scene, and you can see the scene there at Branciforte and Water Street. It is not dying down. Traffic is still going through, but then it's the additional off street there that has been closed off with all the law enforcement officers, be it FBI, Santa Cruz Police, county deputies, and additional jurisdictions, along with Watsonville Police, Scotts Valley SWAT. We've seen them arrive as well. So this is a situation where streets are closed, schools are on lockdown, businesses are on lockdown, and we are hearing that there is this potential second suspect, and this is that location. This is video. Of course, the sun is now down. This is video from earlier. You can see the intensity of officers on scene with guns drawn, some of them wearing the helmets there on scene, not knowing who they're going after, but going after somebody. Gosh, John, you know, it's scary to see news like this, knowing you do take into account where law enforcement has been over the past 3 weeks, because when something happens to law enforcement, all officers are impacted. I mean, it hits close to home, and here we have it now in our own backyard.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've had occasion to speak to chiefs of police and officers about alike is the fact that criminals are becoming more brazen. And
well, that's what we heard from at least one of the witnesses, that this was point-blank range,
that's
reportedly.
Right. And they have assault weapons. Of course, assault weapons are banned in California, but they still can get them through the black market. So they're highly armed, and they're more brazen, and you see the dangers that our men in blue and, of course, our CHP and sheriff's officers and deputies have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, especially if it's true that what's been reported about a domestic violence case, somebody is charged, they're mad, you know, and you don't really know whether there's drugs involved or not, but a lot of times there can be, and we don't know that that's the case in this case, but the bottom line is, criminals are becoming more brazen, making it very difficult for our law enforcement to do their job, and their safety is really at stake in a very critical way these days.
This is live aerial footage you're seeing right now on Central Coast News as the images are coming into us. This is worth mentioning, you know, at the same time that this shooting is happening, there was a community rally scheduled to end gun violence in Santa Cruz. It was scheduled from 4:30 through 5:30 this evening. At the town clock in downtown Santa Cruz. No word on, you know, you take speculation if this is some kind of message. I mean, who knows? But on the same day of there being a gun violence rally scheduled in Santa Cruz, we're now dealing with this shooting scene with 2 officers down. Prior to today's town hall, Santa Cruz County Superintendent of Schools, Michael Watkins, was involved with the town hall meeting on gun violence. We were also following reports that retired homicide detective Stony Brook would be there to speak to people about the issue that really is a statewide and national issue across the area right now of gun violence and how to prevent violent crimes just like this. Our Brooke Holmquist, she is in the content center this evening. Brooke, you've been integral in bringing us updates. What do you have?
Well, I just actually wanted to get to a viewer question, because I know that people are turning in throughout the evening here. When we talk about Project Rope, Mark, actually we are meaning this system that the county law enforcement agencies have set up to make sure that they could possibly catch any suspect that happens to be fleeing on Highway 1. So really every agency within the county working together, they station patrol officers along the on-ramps and off-ramps of Highway 1 all the way up and down the county, so that those officers are in position watching those cars going on the freeway in case they happen to see a car matching the description of the suspect vehicle. Right now, all we know is that it's a white Honda, but at least they're there to kind of pull over any suspect vehicles that could be a possible suspect. So right now, that system is still in place, and all the agencies are working together at this point to kind of have that done. And we wanted to get that in there for Jane, who's watching at home, wanted to know what Project Rope was. Mark?
All right, Brooke, thanks for that. And just right now, a press conference underway. Let's listen in.
This incident, I really, my heart goes out to those that are involved. So I'm going to give you a very brief description of what occurred this afternoon. We'll answer some very cursory questions. We will not be identifying anybody involved in this incident at this point, other than my description that I give you right now. Santa Cruz Police Department was involved in an investigation late this afternoon on Branciforte Drive behind us. In that investigation, a shooting occurred. 2 Santa Cruz police officers were shot and are deceased. 1 suspect was involved in the shooting. That suspect was shot and is deceased at this time. I cannot give you any names, ranks, or even gender of those involved out of respect for their families, as we're dealing with the notification of their families as we speak. Because this incident has deeply impacted the Santa Cruz Police Department, the Santa Cruz Sheriff's Office has assumed the criminal investigation in this shooting and all follow-up investigations.
My statement will be limited today. Our department is in mourning. This is a horrific day in my career as the police chief, and for our community and for our police department. We lost two exceptionally fine officers today. My primary concern at this point is for the safety and the well-being of my officers, as well as the families of the deceased officers. We need to figure out a way to bring our department together and get through this. With that, I think I will conclude. Again, it's just a horrible, horrible day for the Santa Cruz Police Department and for the community of Santa Cruz.
We work with a lot of these officers, so.
Yeah, you know, Kevin Vogel, police chief of Santa Cruz, just to reiterate what he said, a horrible, horrible day for the Santa Cruz Police Department. They've lost two officers. I don't know that that's ever happened in that department. Do you?
Well, I know Brooke Holmquist, our reporter, she's been an employee of Central Coast News, KION, for about 8 years, and from her knowledge, there's not even been another officer involved shooting off the top of her head during that time. We heard from Kevin Vogel, Santa Cruz Police Chief, who took over about 2 years ago. He has been with the force for several years, so he knows these men and women extremely well. You could see Chief Vogel holding back his emotions this afternoon, as we have confirmed 2 officers shot and killed this evening in Santa Cruz. I want to get this across because it's been a while since we mentioned it. There were schools on lockdown in the area. Parents, they can go to 701 Ocean Street to pick up their children. Those children are being bused to that location at 701 Ocean Street. We're being sure to post that information as well online to our website and social media.
And of course, who was leading that press conference was Phil Wowak, the Santa Cruz County Sheriff. His department is assuming all jurisdiction inside the city limits of Santa Cruz tonight. So residents in Santa Cruz, the Sheriff's Office will be patrolling. Everything will be safe. What Police Chief Kevin Vogel is trying to do with his department is unifying them tonight because they are in mourning. And they need to completely brief them on what went down. And what he said went down, what the sheriff said went down, was there was an investigation with the Santa Cruz Police Department going on, which was obviously the reason why the DA's office was there. And of course, it went terribly, terribly wrong.
All right, we have about 45 seconds until a commercial break. Let's go to Jasmine Veal on the scene.
It is very hard to be standing here, especially after listening to Chief Vogel speak with the Santa Cruz Police Department. 2 officers killed on duty with some investigation underway on Brentza 40. The suspect also dead. And Chief Vogel, I was just listening back to what he said in the news conference, and he said he lost 2 exceptionally great officers tonight. The scene, obviously, still very active. It is a very, very sad day for the law enforcement community to lose 2 officers tonight. Again, they do not believe there are any other suspects out there, but they're going to be going door to door to make sure that is the case still. 1 suspect dead. I'm just repeating the facts so everyone can know. And of course, we will bring you the latest.
Ricardo Navarro, he is in the Interactive Center. Ricardo, earlier this evening, we were following that hashtag Santa Cruz. I can only imagine the information coming in now.
Yeah, it's definitely changed within the past 15 minutes since the news broke of the 2 officers that have been shot and killed. A lot of people sending their condolences to the families, to the police department. Again, I know you just reiterated this, but a lot of parents also still tweeting concerns concerns of where their kids are. Again, any parent watching here who have any children in these schools in that area, they have been taken to 701 Ocean. These are the city and county offices. But Mark, again, everyone really just sad news on Twitter, on Facebook about the news of the 2 officers shot and killed. Mark?
All right, Ricardo, thanks for that. If you've been joining us for the past 2 hours, 3 hours at this point, I've been mentioned 2 hours, excuse me. I did mention earlier this shooting and the investigation coming on the same day when there was a gun violence forum, a town hall meeting, so to say, in Santa Cruz at City Hall. It was scheduled from 4:30 to 5:30 this evening, being led by former police detectives. Also, the Santa Cruz County Superintendent of Schools was said to be there, Michael Watkins. And so this is an issue that they were attempting to tackle in Santa Cruz, the issue of gun violence, which right now is a national debate. So we'll put that aside right now, not knowing what happened with the meeting. This is live aerial footage. We do not have control over this helicopter view, but you can see we do have our media affiliates up in the air. You can't see much, but we can tell you that officers, yes, they're still down there. The road closures are still in place. Just there at the top right of the screen, you can see a police squad car. This is kind of a 1-block region between Branciforte and Water Streets, and then down to Doyle. And that's where Central Coast News reporter Marissa Pendergrass is standing by. She's been joining us on the live line. Marissa, there's some things to set straight right now. We heard from the Santa Cruz County Sheriff. They do not think that there's another suspect. They say they think they have their guy, and that suspect has passed away. Yet guns are still drawn. Is that the case? I think they want to make sure the scene is clear. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, there are still officers with guns drawn. It's still an active scene here. They are clearly looking to communicate with someone, and they also have a helicopter in the air. The sun has gone down now, but it has not changed in terms of the level of activity going on out here.
People who are under evacuation, I mean, these are homes in the area, is that correct? And they're not allowed to go to their homes right now?
They're not, and I'm not sure exactly how many blocks, but within this Branciforte, Doyle, and Water Street area, nobody can get in or out of the neighborhood still. I mean, there is at least 50, 60 people standing in this parking lot that have come in and out of the Whole Foods parking lot who can't get home, can't get to their cars on the other side of the parking lot, that are stuck here watching the situation just like we are, trying to figure out what to do tonight and how to get home safely.
And on that note, I want to quote the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office and Phil Wowak, who we heard from about 30 minutes ago. Officers and deputies were going door to door, closet to closet. So that's the mentality right now as the investigation continues. Earlier on Central Coast News with our live footage, we saw multiple SWAT units, the CSI crime truck, and so many jurisdictions arriving on scene as we take a look at more video here. Right now, I want to go to our content center here at Central Coast News and check in with Brooke Holmquist. And Brooke, I know there is some conflicting reports on the students involved in the lockdowns. What can you tell us on that?
It's funny, Mark, because literally just as you were coming to me, I was getting the update. We had heard that the kids still hadn't been transported to the county courthouse, the county building in the courthouse. But literally just as you were coming to me, I'm getting a text message from our reporter, Michelle Polito, who's there. She said the kids just showed up. So for parents who are wondering, they finally were able to get those kids transported by bus to the county building and courthouse. She said literally they just showed up right now as you were tossing to me, Mark. So they are now there, at least the first bus load if there are multiple. So just letting parents know it's a slow process, but they are now starting to arrive.